Yes, we have before us distinguished Senator Abubakar Sani Danladi, another nominee of Mr. President. Can you just summarize your resume before your colleagues?
Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, distinguished senators, good afternoon all. My name is Abubakar Sani Danladi. I'm from Taraba State and also a nominee from Taraba State. Your Excellency, I want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. President for having the confidence in nominating me as a nominee minister in Taraba State. And also, as a colleague in the 8th Senate, I was here together with you, doing everything possible to ensure all the assignment we have been given in the chamber, we have done it successfully. Your Excellency, if given the opportunity and clear me, I want to assure the Assembly, this Senate, that I'm going to provide the synergy between both the executive and the legislature because of my experience. I'm a former councillor, former chairman, former deputy governor, former acting governor, former senator. With this experience, I believe if opportunity given to me today, this humble Senate will clear me. I want to assure you, I will do everything within my capacity to bring the synergy, both the executive and the legislature.
Point of order, Senator Ning.
Mr. President, Order 55, Sub 3. And it says, every senator, when he or she comes into the chamber, shall take his seat or her seat, and shall not at any time stand in any of the passage in the pathways. I think the rule explains it. We are on a very serious assignment.
Yes.
And the way and manner we move around does not in any way speak well of this chamber. And I hope the Senate President should guide us, all of us.
Point of order is sustained. Senator Abu, you may go back to your seat. Senator Gumel, I don't know whether people are holding a different session. Senator Bomai, we want a solemn assembly. We want the chambers to know that this is a very serious business. Senator Guta, go back to your seat. Anything? We'll take her. We'll take her. Yes. Yeah, true. Anybody from Adamawa? Or is it Taraba? Any senator from Taraba? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I am Haruna Manu. I represent Taraba Central. Mr. President, you will agree with me that from the presentation by the nominee, Mr. President, the nominee is a grassroots politician, is somebody who has started from the inception of this democracy, from the councillor to the council chairman, deputy governor, acting governor, and a member of this distinguished Senate, Mr. President. In Taraba State, they are having someone who is one of them, a grassroots politician, being nominated by Mr. President. So, Mr. President, having said this, I want to crave your indulgence to ask the nominee to take a bow and go. Thank you very much.
Okay, for me, I think it's a straightforward thing. He's a distinguished senator, but my office received about 3 or 4 petitions, but they all border on the same. Is that the superintendent to debar him from holding office for a couple of years. So maybe he can comment on that and just take a bow.
Mr. President, I thank you for giving me that opportunity. There was no any Supreme Court pronouncement banning me for 10 years in the judgment. It's just speculations of my enemies. If you look at the judgments, my judgments are here with you, before you, sir. There is no any judgment indicting me for election. One of the senators here in my zone took this matter to Federal High Court, Abuja here, that the Federal High Court, Jalingo, has, at that time, 2019, when I contested for governorship.
Not respond because I saw him raising his hand in case he has anything he wants to add. Okay, so. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying as soon as he finishes, he can take a bow.
There was no any pronouncement. The matter still, sir. The same matter, Senator Shaibullah took the matter to Federal High Court, to Federal High Court Abuja here on the same matter, sir. The Federal High Court gave me the judgment. He now appealed to Appeal Court. Appeal Court now affirmed the judgment of Federal High Court. They now took the matter to Supreme Court. The same Supreme Court now gave me the judgment. So there was no any judgment, sir. Look at the judgment properly. There was no any judgment from Supreme Court. As I'm talking, the Supreme Court are hearing me. There is no any judgment from Supreme Court nullified, barring me for 10 years. There was no any judgment. You look at the paper, all the papers are before you. Yes. There was no any judgment. If there is judgment, the judgment is here. And I believe. Yes.
Sir, can I have my floor now, as ordered earlier by Mr. President?
Unless Senator Adams Oshowole has anything, because yes, next nominee. Yes, the nominee, you have the floor. Just a summarized resume of yourself, and then you answer questions from the distinguished senators.
Go ahead.
The President of the Senate, the Deputy Senate President, and distinguished senators. I greet you all. My name is Barrister Mrs. Uju Kennedy Ohanenye. I was the only female presidential aspirant, the mama that came on board. I schooled at WTC Primary School, Enugu, and Queen's School, Enugu, and then proceeded to Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka campus. I studied law, and in my secondary school, if you could see the certificate that I put in there, I ordered for it in 2019 while I finished in 1986 because my credentials got burnt, so I had to write to the school to give me another. So the date they have on the paper is the date I collected it. And then after my university in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, studying law, I proceeded to law school, Lagos. When I finished there, I went into business, education, especially real estate, but I got into humanitarian jobs, going to hospitals, government hospitals to pay for bills for indigent patients, donating health centers like I've donated in Kogi State, I've donated in Kaduna, Kanu, and a lot in Igbo land and across the nation. About 8 of them with acquisition centers. So in the process of going to the hospitals, I saw a lot of things that the poor people are going through. Sometimes a Nigerian will die over 1,000 naira. Not that he or she is not working hard, but most times what they make is so meager that if they have any kind of challenges, they won't be able to take care of themselves anymore after paying the initial bill. So I wasn't feeling very good about it. I have never really been a politician, but this prompted me to join the race as the only female presidential aspirant. So I joined the race just for those voiceless people that suffer from the hands of the police, suffer from, even in land offices, some people will save up the little money they have to buy a land. By the time they are retiring, some directors will gather together, collect that land from that person. The person or these genotypes. So I felt if I should have opportunity, I will be able to introduce what they call, what we used to have before. What do you call it? I will remember that. Those ones that they go in the villages and make announcements. Town criers. Because some of these people, they have no radios, they have no televisions, they don't have any way to get sensitized. So I am going to, I've already discussed with NUJ, I've discussed with all the bodies that will assist me if I am given opportunity by the Senate, so that we'll be able to introduce that and get them to know these things. And I've been able to equally organize some physical Association of Physicians from US. They usually come in to treat some of these people free of charge, and they have agreed that if opportunity is given, they will increase the number of times they visit here. Please, my brothers and sisters, I'm here to let you understand that the kind of things these people are suffering, even the places I donated some health centers, you'll be shocked that somebody will selfishly take over and start using it for something else, and you come out and start fighting. Nobody fights for these people and nobody talks for them. So I know this 10th National Assembly session, I know that you people are quite different. I'm not saying that the ones before you are not okay, but I am seeing a lot of selflessness in you people that I know that chance will be given for these people to be taken good care of.
Senator Nwebunyi.
Thank you, Excellency. I remain Senator Onyekachi Peter Nwebunyi, representing the good people of Ebonyi District of Ebonyi State. Madam, I overheard you saying you want to come into politics to give you the opportunity to speak for the poor and, of course, the less privileged. Now, as a woman, what do you have in stock in knowledge of the fact that in some part of our country, Nigeria, particularly in Igbo land, women are barred from inheriting their father's property in case their father dies intestate? What do you have in stock for them to correct this anomaly in view of so many court judgments and, of course, the Supreme Court judgment that have said no to that barbaric act? What can you do as Honorable Minister? Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Ome from Anambra.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ome, OFR. I represent the people of Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, if I had had the first nod to speak, that would have been to very proudly to introduce this lady who, from the CV you have seen, is a lawyer, and she's been given to very uncommon causes of fighting for less privileged people in society. Listening to her introduce herself, she told us how she was moved to pity when she visited hospitals and saw people who were dying because of lack of care, because of no money to take care of their medical needs and so on and so forth. And she decided to float a Shower Love Foundation. So she didn't just come to politics because people are in politics. She was motivated by passion to serve others who are in difficulties. If you ask me, this lady is our own equivalent of Mother Teresa. Yes, because it's very, very uncommon, Mr. President, very uncommon, Senate President, for you to see somebody after acquiring a degree in law will leave playing to the gallery, gallivanting here and there, but paying attention to the privileged people in the society. So I think I'm very grateful that Mr. President chose her among the females he offered to this country in this cabinet nomination. For us in Anambra State, 3 senators from Anambra State, myself, Senator Oba, and Senator Tunji-Ojo. She comes from my senatorial district, actually. She hails from Oka in Anambra Central Senatorial District. So we will plead that she is audacious enough to answer any question, but because of her commitment to service to the less privileged people in the society, let's encourage her to get all through to that office and use the opportunities that will be available to her through government to try to change a lot of things, particularly the scant attention we give to the less privileged in society. She's already on it as an NGO, and with many other things she's done. Across Nigeria, she's had a lot of interventions, trying to go to different places to bring people out of distress. And I think as a humanitarian that she is, she deserves to be supported by all of us. The questions put on her way notwithstanding, I want to tell this distinguished Senate that 3 senators from Anambra State are solidly behind her nomination. and we encourage that you bear with us and give her that support. Let her go and help the indigent people everywhere in this country. Thank you, Mr. President, and my sister, congratulations. We welcome you to our chamber. Thank you.
Have your mic. This Senator, carry me.
Thank you, my Senate President. My name is Karimi Sunday. I represent Kogi West. Madam, looking at your papers, you have done a lot of humanitarian services all over the Federation. Kushe Makaranta in Kakako local government in Kaduna, in Imo State, in Kogi State, donation of dialysis machines and water tank in Enugu State, all over the Federation. Thank you. Looking at your tax clearance, will you say you have been paying enough taxes to the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Thank you.
What is wrong with the tax clearance?
Mr. President, sir, in 2018, hello? In 2018, you declare an annual income of 1 million. You declare an annual income of 1 million. In 2019, you declare an annual million of 841,000. In 2020, you declare an annual income of 954,000. Could it be under declaration?
Distinguished Senator Alero.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting in the chair, distinguished colleagues. Nominee, let me start by first and foremost congratulating you for being nominated by Mr. President. And I look at your resume, I look at what you have been doing, it's highly commendable. Nigeria has been described as the poverty capital of the world, where we have over 150 million people living in absolute poverty. In the event that you are confirmed as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what measures would you take, or what advice would you give the government of the Federation to lift this over 150 million people out of poverty in Nigeria? And I'm sure you have an idea based on what you have been doing, since you have been doing it with your own resources. Now you are in government. What contribution can you make to lift these people out of poverty? Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ibrahim, Anambra South Central District. Mr. President, I want to buttress more on what our colleague has said, congratulating her because it is not easy to have a presidential nominee before us, a presidential aspirant before us, and a woman looking at gender sensitivity. But most importantly, Mr. President, looking at what she has done across the country, in terms of humanitarian activities. And then also going to what Senator Karimi said, I'm sure you know, in America, people that are into charity, that even in America, they don't even pay tax. But in this case, she's paying her tax according to what she earns. You know, so we are not looking at her as a businesswoman, but someone who is deep into charity. Like Ume said, that is our modern-day Mother Teresa. Mr. President, I think 3 of us from Anambra State here, I don't have question than to recommend that she take a bow, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. Yes, and you have...
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so the student Senator Kingibe, a woman should ask a woman a question.
Okay. Mr. President, my name is Ireti Kingibe, representing the Federal Capital Territory. I would like to commend the nominee. I would also like to appreciate her. Her CV is also quite impressive, and I think that it speaks for itself. These are the kind of people we need. Secondly, she is a woman. We know the value that women bring to the table. And I would like to make a comment about my colleague who wants her to do something about women not having inheritance. I think that should be our duty rather than hers, since we are the legislators. I would also like to support distinguished Senator Ifeanyi by thinking that she also should take a bow. She deserves it, and everybody else has taken a bow. I think her CV requires that she does that also. Thank you.
The Senator Ireti Kingibe, any nominee that comes before us will take a bow, whether the person is cleared or not. At the end of the day, we will go into the clearance and confirmation. We will confirm whether the person is qualified or not. But bowing before the hallowed chambers is a tradition all over the world. So if you are saying that others have taken a bow, they took a bow because they entered into these chambers. And we had to amend our rules. We had to suspend our rules to allow strangers to come in here. And so when they come, they will take a bow. The bow does not mean that you have been confirmed. So even if she takes a bow, we'll still go into the issue of confirmation later. Is that clear? Yes. Is there any other person from Anambra who would like to say something? Yes, Tony Oye.
Thank you, my dear President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Dr. Tony Oye. I represent a group of Anambra Senatorial districts. Distinguished colleagues, my dear President, mine is just to add my voice to what my brothers have already said and what Senator Ireti Kingibe also said, that this Hallow Chamber sees a reason to allow her to go for now, pending the time we're going to do the confirmation. And also for me to advise her that if the Senate eventually confirms her, by God's grace, that they should do her best. That she should do her best. Strive her best within her limit to improve the lives of Nigerians. Thank you and God bless you.
That's a very good contribution, but I need to also let you know that we have a no-nonsense president. And so I believe that all the ministers and all appointees will be on their toes to give their best to the country. And if you don't, anybody who has had the opportunity to be a governor, and then a president knows very well that you starve for strength. You are looking for people that can come and help you to actualize your vision for your administration. I mean, if some people are not ready to do so, they will fall by the wayside. The last contribution will come from Senator Sadiq, and thereafter she will answer all the questions, and like Senator Ireti said, she will now take a bow.
Thank you, Mr. President, City Chair, my distinguished colleagues. I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent the good and decent people of Kwara North, and we who are. Nominee, congratulations, and we are proud. You know, Kwara State is one of the most gender-sensitive states in the country, or indeed in Africa. Yes, very friendly to women. We love our women to be in position. So congratulations. I have a very simple question. First, do you agree that the competence, capacity, and so on of a minister is overrated compared to the strength of the systems you are going to operate in? If you agree, we overemphasize the competence. You need to be very competent, you need to be very experienced, and so on. I'm saying that is overrated if you compare it with the strength of the system you are going to operate in this case, public service or civil service. I'm saying that the strength of the service is more important than whatever you are bringing in to office. If you agree with that, what are you going to do to ensure that whatever ministry you go to, you find a way of working with that system, however weak is it? How are you going to navigate your way around to be sure that you are able to, deliver, to bring about progress in the country? Do you understand the question? Thank you.
The nominee.
Thank you so much. I would still like to start with the women on inheritance. Some of us nowadays, I think that was the olden time. I have a daughter, and she's going to inherit from me and my husband. It was before. The most important thing women are going through right now is some corrupt civil servants taking over, or kingsmen taking over their husband's properties from them when the man is dead. That's the major issue the women are having, of which, like I said earlier, I'm bringing in FIDA, I'm bringing in MBA. They said it will be applauding for them to be involved. Where will we make sure such a thing never happens again? You try it and they report to wherever the Senate will approve me to be. Will we fight that person to the last? We get involved with police and make sure it never happens again. Will we sue them to court, no matter how powerful that person thinks he is? I think with the new president we have now, who said, let the poor breathe and don't suffocate the poor. When he speaks, we, the soldiers, carry it out. So whoever that does that will be brought to book. Then the issue of the taxes, like my brother has said to you, in normal circumstances, I'm not supposed to pay tax, just I'm a good Nigerian. I feel that my country needs me to contribute. I'm doing a lot of humanitarian works. I've not even mentioned 1/10 of what I have been doing. And still, I found it within myself that it was necessary, and it's still necessary, for me to make a contribution to my country through taxes. So, my brother, I am trying my best because it's a self-sponsored NGO. Then the poverty solution. I feel like in Nigeria, our children are very brilliant. There are so many things. If I'm given that opportunity to head the human development and humanitarian affairs, if I'm given the opportunity by the Senate, subject to the Senate, please, I will not just give out 5,000. 5,000 can make 2 pots of soup and the money is gone. I will rather teach them how to fish. How do I do this? I am going to introduce what they call urban centers. I will bring in machineries, industrial machines. Then I will get with the town criers to get to these villages. We are going to get them to learn those tradings, different kinds of trading. And we have an outlet because it's a professional that we come in to teach them. And as they're being taught, they're equally working to produce these things like female clothes, babies' clothes in our own material. And then they will use it and make those clothes, and we move it to the outlet. We'll make it so beautiful. It will almost look like as if it's Western clothes, but in our own indigenous materials. Then we will move it to the outlet where we market it. And they themselves, as they're learning, they will be making money, monthly salary to feed themselves and take care of themselves. That is number one. Then number two, the hunters that are in the bush hunting, or people that are killing cows. There are so many things we can do with the skins of these animals. So this humanitarian or the outlets, the urban centers will be buying these things from the hunters. And when they are making enough money, which the ministry will definitely buy it at the correct price, not to shortchange them like so many people are doing. They will use it and then be producing those things. Then the issue of hospital, I'm going to introduce what they will call humanitarian hospital, because a lot of white people are ready to come and build it, sponsor it, if it is humanitarian hospital. And that will bring more employment. And the other people that are ready to bring, the people they call med share, med surplus, project cure, they are ready to come and equip these hospitals as far as it is meant for the less privileged people. And we're going to use this opportunity to increase our hospitals, because if you go to government hospitals, many people are lying outside. Sorry. Thank you, sir.
Just like in your NGO, if you're allowed, you'll do more. And if you're allowed, you'll talk more. So you at least, I believe the Senate is well guided. You can take a bow. Next nominee. Yes, Mr. Honorable Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, you are welcome. Congratulations on your nomination by Mr. President. So, if you have any, just give us a summary of your resume. Because I noticed you are currently a member of the House of Representatives, and you were also in the 9th House of Representatives. So give us a resume of just a summarized version.
Thank you, distinguished President of the Senate, the leadership of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me start by appreciating God Almighty for the unique privilege He has given me this opportunity. My name is Honorable Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. I was born on the 1st of May, 1982
I hail from Okeagbe-Akoko in Akoko Northwest Local Government of Ondo State. I was a member of the Ninth Assembly and presently a member of the 10th Assembly in the House of Representatives. In the Ninth Assembly, I was chairman of the Committee of Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, in the Ninth Assembly. And in the, at the moment, I'm a serving member. My details are as iterated in the resume. I went to my primary school, starting from Hagda International in Kaduna, then to Universal Primary School in Akure. Then my secondary school, Futa Staff Secondary School, Akure. Then my university, I started from Obafemi Awolowo University, Electrical Electronics Engineering, then moved to University of North London for my first degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering. And I'm also an alumnus of the Britannia Training Academy, where I qualified as a certified ethical hacker in the year 2006. Before being elected to the parliament in 2019, I was into private practice. I consulted for so many multinationals, so many national bodies in the educational sector, oil and gas sector, the World Bank, and a couple of other organizations. At this juncture, I think I need to pause a moment, sir.
Yes, Sadiq, Senator Sadiq.
Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. Nominee, congratulations. As a honorable member, we know the principle is, we allow you to take a bow, which is good. However, for the purposes of doing a clean job, this is the Senate of the Federal Republic. So we want to be sure that when we clear you, we can be sure we've done a very good job. Your NYC certificate versus, your date of birth. You were born in 1982, correct? And in your NYC certificate, I have two concerns, just to clarify, so that we are sure that you served between 28 November 2020. So that's what.
No, there is a mistake in their certificate.
It's a problem.
Is it topographical error?
No, let him clarify that. Yeah, that's what I want to. He needs to clarify. Off your mic. Mr. Chair.
Distinguished colleagues, when we are handling the confirmation, the nominees are not going to be before us again. And there is what they call the rule of odi auterem patem. Let the other side be heard. So if he has made any observation, let the nominee clarify it and take a bow. It's not an issue. But you wouldn't have another opportunity. Otherwise, outside there, people will think that we are covering up anything when we are not covering up anything. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as chair. For emphasis, like I said, we still need to protect the institution that we are all proud of, and it's part of this institution. So I just want a clarification. There's a discrepancy between when you were born and when you serve, including when the DG signed your NYC certificate. Because NYC certificates are always signed the same date with when you serve. But there's a discrepancy in your. Can you please clarify, just for the record, so that we are sure, we've done a good job. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, distinguished Senator. Let me first of all say that I graduated in 2005 in the United Kingdom. And I think by law, establishing the NYSC, according to the law, establishing the NYSC, it's from the date of your graduation. If you are below 30 or you are above 30, that's when you are accepted. So even if you come back to Nigeria and you want to serve at any point in time, once you graduate before the age of 30, it's an obligation to the nation that you have to perform it. So that is, it's as simple as that, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so if you graduate outside, and once you come back to the country, if you are still below 30, even if you are above 30, if you graduate before 30, you should go ahead and serve. Which is the one that you get exemption? Exemption. If you are above 30, you get exemption. But if you are below 30, you can serve. So, distinguished, I just want, in line with our practice here, is there anybody from Ondo State that would like to say something? Why Jimo? Oshimole, you're not from Ondo State now. Is there anybody from Ondo? Okay, Jimo, if you are the only one from, oh, no, San, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. Adeni Adegbomere, Ondo Central. My understanding of what the nominee is saying is that what the law says is that you have an obligation to serve from the day you graduate. So let's assume that you graduate at 28, but you are not in the country. You are abroad, and you come back at 35. That's why the fact that you have returned to Nigeria at 35, you still have to go and serve. And that's what he's saying. That yes, I've been out of the country, but by the time I came back, I graduated before 30. I still had that obligation to serve. And that's my understanding of what he was trying to, message he was trying to pass, and that is the law. Apart from that, I think that having clarified that, my view is that having extended the privilege of being a member of the House of Reps to everybody, I see no reason why we should not extend the same privilege to the nominee. I therefore most respectfully, sir, Mr. President, sitting as chair, seek your Excellency's indulgence to permit the nominee in our tradition to take a bow and go. Thank you very much.
Yes, in line with the demands of our rules, you may take a bow.
Distinguished colleagues, order please. Order please. Distinguished colleagues, order. The chair. Chair, Senate President sitting as chair, can we proceed, please?
Distinguished colleagues, we have before us a former principal officer of the 9th House of Representatives and a nominee of Mr. President. Can you quickly just say one or two things about yourself before we apply the tradition of the Senate and of the National Assembly?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Deputy Senate President, principal officers of the House, of the Senate, distinguished senators of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Good afternoon, everybody. I am glad to be in your midst today. My name is Nkiruka Onyejeocha. I was a member of House of Representatives from 2007 to 2023. I was a commissioner in Abia State in 2002 and later became local government chairperson of Umunochi, local government area of Abia State, before I contested for House of Representatives in 2007. I am a PhD holder in political science from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I obtained master's degree in international affairs and diplomacy from Imo State University in 2006. And also master's in transport management from Ladoke Akintola University. I am a lawyer. I was called to bar in 2019, and I graduated from University of Abia State University, Abia State. And right now, I am also back to my constituency to do the best I know how to do, which is being with my constituents. And distinguished colleagues this afternoon, I thank you for obliging me to introduce myself and to pledge my loyalty to Federal Republic of Nigeria and National Assembly, and my party, of course, All Progressive Congress. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Is there anybody from Abia State who would like to urge in favor of the... I just confirm that Abia is comfortable with my sister, that's all. Darlington.
Thank you, Mr. Senior President. My name is Darlington Nwokocha. I speak for the entire Nigeria, but Abia Central in particular. Mr. Senior President and dear colleagues, early this morning, myself, Senator Darlington Nwokocha, Senator Enya Baribe, and Senator Oji-Ozo Carlo presented a document to this hallowed chamber through Mr. Senior President, supporting the nomination and requesting for clearance of one of the best in Nigeria today. Having seen and gone through her resume, having interacted with her all over the years, She is 360 degrees qualified in the three arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. She is a lawyer. She has been a local government chairman and commissioner, and also a serial legislator. She has featured in this chamber for so many years and so many times, revolving, and effectively gotten to be the highest, one of the principal officers in House of Representatives. And I'm sure she has chaired so many ad hoc committees. Even before becoming a principal officer, she has been chairman of several other committees where she featured and seriously involved in oversighting several ministries, which helped her to gain a lot of experiences, which is going to bring to bear by the time she functions in this particular position they have offered her. And also, being gender sensitive, she's one of the best women that we feature in this government. So we're very proud of her, that we're loaning her to the entire Nigeria, and we believe that she's going to function and give Nigeria all Nigeria would deserve within this time. Therefore, on behalf of the Abia Senator Caucus, and on behalf of all the people, the Southeast, and the entire Nigeria, we want to bring to the fore Honorable Nkiru Chidubem Onyejeocha for screening and finally clearance and confirmation at the end of the day. Thank you, Mr. Senate President.
Yes. Take a bow. Senator Gomer, bring the next nominee. Yes. Distinguished colleagues, we have a nominee before us and a former woman leader of our great party, or current woman leader of our great party, Dr. Betta Edu. Is there anything you'd like the Senate to know about you?
Go ahead.
Your Excellency, the distinguished President of the Senate, an uncommon one, His Excellency Senator Godswill Obot Akpabio, the leadership of the Senate, distinguished senators, members of the fourth realm, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Betta Edu, and I thank God Almighty, as all the distinguished members in this house, for granting me this great privilege to be standing before this great house and Nigerians as a young person, taking up this huge responsibility when I'm confirmed. I am a public health specialist. I had my MBBCH from the University of Calabar, my postgraduate diploma from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, University of London. I also have my MSc
from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, University of London. The PhD is from the Texile American University. I was the special advisor to the governor of Cross River State in 2015. In 2016, I became the first Pioneer Director General of the Cross River State. I became the Pioneer Director General of the Cross River State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, one with which we built from the scratch. In 2019, I became the Commissioner for Health in Cross River State, and I was then elected to become the chairman of all the commissioners of health in Nigeria. Before this announcement, I was the national woman leader of the ruling party, APC. Thank you.
Doctor, well, congratulations on your nomination. Before Asukwa says anything, let me hear from a veteran administrator, His Excellency Benga Daniels.
Our Senate President, very distinguished senators, I am Otumba Engineer Benga Daniel, representing the people of Ogun East Senatorial District. Although I'm not from Cross River State, but I'm very proud to recommend the nominee to my colleagues. I've had the privilege of meeting her about 7-8 years ago. And I was pleasantly surprised because she was, as a matter of fact, my coordinator for that state while I was running for the chairmanship of that other party. And I must say that she coordinated well. But what I wasn't sure of was his background in terms of medicine. And getting closer to her, I discovered that she's one of the Amazons of this country. And I cannot but be thankful to Mr. President for nominating her. I should on my mark. Mr. President, sir, I was also not surprised when he emerged as a national.
You know, she's here as a nominee of the President for the office of Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So whatever she did in the past, representing you in your ambition to be chairman, will not be the issue now. Nigerians want to know what she will bring on the table as a minister. And then you also mentioned that it was 12 years ago. Then when you got very close to her, you now. So please, let's not personalize any issue. Let us limit ourselves to the nominee and why she's here before us in this hallowed chamber. You may continue.
It was that impression I was sure that as a nominee, she will carry that kind of efficiency that I've noticed over the years. That is the context in which I was speaking, Mr. President. But not only that, I discovered that she's probably the youngest nominee and also a female. And I think that with this kind of personality, all of us will start appreciating that probably it's time for us to start getting into retirement, because strong, ebullient characters like this are coming into the polity. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
The civil senator, Sani Musa, I know what Asukwa wants to say, so that's why I'm avoiding him.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. My distinguished colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. Nominee, I can see you have a very wonderful CV. And I'm happy that during the pandemic, you were a commissioner in Cross River State. And during that period, it came as a surprise, a big surprise and a big blow to our health sector. Seeing what happened between 2019 to 2021, 2022, when the pandemic was being able to be tackled, what kind of ideas will you bring on table for Nigeria in the health sector to be sure that if anything like that will come again, we'll be able to face it, especially in area of research for vaccines? Thank you.
Please, because she's going to answer questions. He has just asked a question. If anybody wants to make a speech that has to do with accolades, please, you suspend until she answers the real questions. Yes, so distinguished Senator Jaribe, you wanted to answer questions. Is it? Okay, so you speak last. Senator Ningi.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central, Bauchi State. Mr. President, my question to Dr. Betta. First of all, I would like to, I'm delighted that she's back in Nigeria after studying abroad. But doctor, you will notice that doctors that this country has produced are no longer in our shows. And you have been away, you studied abroad, and you have seen doctors working abroad, and you are back here, and you have seen our doctors working. What will you now say is the reason for most of these doctors leaving? And what will you advise the government going forward? Right now, our doctors are also on strike. How do we make sure that you make our doctors stay in, work for the benefit of Nigerians, and then making sure that the doctors also don't go on strike? When doctors go on strike, it means clearly loss of lives at every given time. If you are made a minister, what do you now tell the president? If you are made a minister in health or in any other ministry, because you are a doctor, what ideas are you bringing to the fore, on the table, in making sure particularly people don't leave this country for other countries to practice? Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Idiot.
The President of the Senate, sitting as chair, my name is Idiot Oluranti Adebole, representing the good people of Lagos West. Dr. Betta, I want to congratulate you. Congratulations on your nomination. However, I have this question for you. We are in a world where social entrepreneurs and non-governmental organizations are increasingly and significantly getting involved in the development of urban communities. How well are you going to use your office to make sure that majority of our women are part of this development of the urban communities? Particularly, as a woman leader in the past, and you have done a very wonderful job being a woman leader, this is another opportunity for you, this is another call for you to put the women appropriately to where they should belong. If you look at the 3 tiers of government, you will realize that we have very few women who are part of governance or government. How best are you going to also use your office to ensure that we have many women in position of responsibility in this country? We have what it takes to be there. We have everything that it takes for women to be up there. How best are you going to continue? I use the word continue purposely. Are you going to continue?
Distinguished Senator Osita Ngo.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Osita Ngo. I am here on behalf of the people of Enugu West. Congratulations, nominee, for what you have achieved at a very young age. I think the youths of Nigeria should be very proud of you. I ask you just one question. The National Health Insurance Scheme has been existing for more than 15 years. But so far, we have about 10% coverage. What do you think, or how would you, assuming your portfolio is in health, how do you think this can be extended to cover more of Nigerians? And how would we make healthcare service affordable to Nigerians? Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Yari.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Abdulaziz Abukarari. I represent people of Zamfara West. Mr. President, I'm from Zamfara State. My distinguished colleagues, congratulations, nominee. Looking at your CV, doctor, I believe strongly you are at bat with the situation of our health institution, being a commissioner of health from Cross Rivers, not only being a commissioner from Cross Rivers, being a chairman or chairperson of commissioners in Nigeria. I believe you have a forum that you are discussing issues regarding the health. If your portfolio goes to Ministry of Health, what do you intend to do on area of university teaching hospitals and relation between the university teaching hospital, state hospital, and private hospital, and issue of industrial strike in the area of health sector? One, paramedical centers in the state, almost we have it having it everywhere. And if you look at the remuneration of the federal government and remuneration of some of the states are not equal. How do you intend to intervene? Because my little experience in the governance, when we are paying remuneration of the health workers in the states and before we realize it, both the medical doctors and nurses transferred their service back to the Federal Medical Center and leave the state hospitals empty. How do you intend to work with the state, federal government, private practitioners, and see how we can harmonize their remuneration so as that we can have a better health delivery in that sector? One. Two, most of the services you knew in abroad given, if you look at it in Nigeria, to some extent, you will be a kind of disappointed. Not that we don't have an intelligent physicians, intelligent doctors, but we are lacking on infrastructure and equipment. In that regard, what do you intend to bring on board to support the health sector to improve in terms of having equipment to work and bringing our doctors like you there in abroad coming back home to serve Nigerians? Thank you very much.
The last but not the least question, Sadiq. Senator Sadiq, you've been raising your hand. Yeah, is it accolade or question? Is it accolade or question? No, if it's accolade, I'm reserving that for the last. Let her answer the questions first before I go to Senator Osukwo and Senator Jaribe. Is it a question?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, Doctor, congratulations. I have a very simple question for you. You are aware, I know you know, that the maternal mortality rate in Nigeria is about 570 per 100,000 live births, correct? And that's the fourth terrible in the whole world. We are fourth. And we know globally the best point of taking care of healthcare delivery is at primary care level, all over the world. For any healthcare system that is successful, the secret is in primary healthcare level. What will be your plan in case you are assigned to the health ministry for the primary healthcare system in this country? Thank you.
So, but I think you should answer those ones, and then if others have. You were prepared for today, right? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, the President of the Senate and distinguished senators, for those wonderful questions. It's a reflection of the commitment of everyone in this Senate to see an improved healthcare system in Nigeria. Indeed, Nigeria should be headed at the speed of light to achieve universal health coverage. That means healthcare for all, irrespective of whether they have the money, they are from any tribe, or they belong to any religion. They should, wherever they are, be able to have access to quality healthcare. For us as a country, we have challenges that stare us in the face, beginning with governance and leadership of the health sector, fragmentation, duplication, wastage of funds, poor coordination amongst key players in the health sector. Nigeria suffers right now from what they call the Japa syndrome, where doctors and other health workers are leaving the country in their drones. The World Health Organization recommendation is that we should have 1 doctor to 600 patients, but in Nigeria it's basically 1 doctor to 5. But it was not fully utilized. Like you said, 60% of Nigerians, of course, pay out of pocket, and they look forward to a better, more functional health system. What should we be advising and working with our very, very strong politically conscious president to see that we achieve in the health sector? Number one, I think the beginning of the problem is governance. We must get the right governance and the right structure from the top all the way down to the health facilities. Who are those manning it? Who are the managers? Who are the planners? Is it properly planned? And what are those adjustments and streamlining that needs to happen? Like a distinguished senator rightly said, there are federal medical centers everywhere. There are teaching hospitals everywhere. How functional are they? What quality of service can they offer? As it concerns the health workers that are leaving, a couple of things can be done. Number one, we can change the payment structure for health workers to see that they get better incentives and they can stay on. They are leaving because probably a country like Saudi Arabia promises a greener pasture, and that's why they're leaving. Number two, we can make the environment more conducive for them to stay so that they can thrive and deliver their health services. Number three, it's important for us to create another structure where health workers can be employed outside the direct structure that we have now. In the United Kingdoms, I'll give you an example. You have the doctors who are on locum and they still work in the NHS, and you have the doctors who are employed by the NHS directly. So some are employed through agencies and then some directly. This way you can sip in every single health worker from wherever they are. We need every one of them. I would also want to suggest that as a matter of urgency, our medical institutions across the nation should be improved to train more health practitioners that will go into the system. Beyond this, it's important for Nigeria as a country to concentrate on our health insurance. I'm very happy and I'm very thankful to this legislative house that you were able to pass the bill to make health insurance mandatory for all Nigerians. Everyone should contribute the little, and we all share the risk and we share the benefits. That way, we can offer free health care to pregnant women and children under 5. That will reduce maternal mortality and reduce under 5 mortality. That way, we can reduce catastrophic expenditure that have sent several families into poverty. I would want to go to the question on the women. Nigerian women need empowerment at all levels, beginning from the grassroots all the way up. I'm very proud of Mr. President that he was able to appoint into his cabinet a good number of women, which is the first start. We want to use this opportunity to plead with the legislative arm that bills that will support and protect the Nigerian women should scale through in the 10th Assembly. That way it provides a legal framework for women to increase our participation in politics, governance, and leadership. I'll speak briefly on the poor health services, and I would round up at that point. Primary health care is the foundation of any health system in any country, and that's the closest health system to Nigerians, where they live, where they work. And except we fix the primary health care, we cannot achieve universal health coverage. The government, working with the legislative arm, have provided the basic healthcare provision fund. We want that, private sector participation, and indeed, all our development partners to come on board to see that Nigerian primary health care is completely functional, and that will go into the secondary, the teaching hospitals, and specialist hospitals to offer care. Thank you very much, the Senate President and distinguished members.
Distinguished Senator Azuko Ekpeyon.
Good evening, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, my name is Azuko Ekpeyon, Senator representing Cross River South. But on this occasion, I'm not speaking just for Cross River South. I'm speaking for my secondary constituency, the young Nigerians. Dr. Betta Edu is a bona fide constituent of mine in that regard. At just 36 years old, she's just about a year younger than me. We served together in the Cross River State Executive Council. She was Commissioner for Health, I was Commissioner for Finance. No.
Are you saying that this Senate should look into the maturity of those who are nominated? That you are how many years? 30 something, and that she's 30 something. So we will look into all that by the time we are doing confirmation. But go on.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mr. President, like I said, she's a constituent of mine, and I wanted to prove that point. Beyond that, Your Excellency, I have worked with her closely as a Commissioner of Finance when she was Commissioner for Health. In 2020, during the breakout of the coronavirus pandemic, we worked closely where she was the chairman of the COVID-19 task force, and I was the secretary. She's extremely brilliant, very dogged, unwavering on any task that is given to her. She will accomplish it at any time. I want to say that everyone here, at least on this side of the aisle, all 59 of us know and recognize her as a young woman leader. On the other side, no, it's not about partisan. But on this other side, the other 50 gentlemen, our colleagues on this other side, you know as the woman leader you would like your party to have. I am pleased today that Betta Edu is not a former parliamentarian or a former lawmaker because she didn't have the privilege of taking a bow and going. She has dispatched the questions that have been asked to her with aplomb and to the admiration of this hallowed chamber. I want to say that without further ado, that we please let her take a bow and go. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my sister, Dr. Betta Edu, distinguished colleagues, thank you very much.
You have actually demonstrated youthfulness in the way you address us. We, your colleagues, we are now ladies and gentlemen. The Civil Senator Jaribe.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Jaribe, the leader of the caucus, Cross River State Senators Caucus. The nominee before us is a true Cross Riverian, and hers, in this case, is just a case of Rep Sister Lukito. The fact speaks for itself. Going through her CV and how she has adumbrated in response to all the questions put forward to her, I want to crave the indulgence of the Senate that my nominee and our nominee from Cross River State takes a bow and goes. Thank you.
The Civil Senator, Father Honsi, I don't think you have any other thing to add. So because it is the consensus of the Senate that you have answered the questions. If you have answered them well, you will hear on the day of confirmation. But if you did not answer them well, you will also hear from us. So you may now take a bow. Next nominee. Distinguished colleagues, the nominee before us is Haja Iman Suleiman Ibrahim from Nasarawa State. We have your biodata, but if there is anything you would like to do, but if there's anything you would like to add, you can go ahead and use the next few minutes to summarize. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, Your Excellencies, Principal Officers of the Senate, distinguished Senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, good evening. May God's peace and blessings be upon you. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you today. I am Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, FSI, the Ministerial Nominee from Nasarawa State, North Central of Nigeria. I stand before you today with a deep sense of commitment to duty, a devoted public servant, a selfless daughter of Nigeria, and also an advocate of the well-being of our people and the advancement of our great nation. I am deeply honored and humbled by the trust and confidence reposed on me by our CNC, His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Through the nomination to these enviable heights of the ministerial position of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I am grateful for the opportunity to see it as an honor to be considered to serve our country in a capacity that aligns with my life ambition, which is the pursuit for peace, progress, and prosperity of this country. My life and career journey has been guided by a passion for public service and a profound love for our beloved country. Born and raised in Nigeria, I have been fortunate to receive a comprehensive education, including a degree in sociology from the University of Abuja. Subsequently, I earned 2 postgraduate degrees in business administration and management from Webster University, St. Louis, Missouri, their London campus, thus solidifying my expertise in this field. As part of my unending quest for continuous professional development, I went to the National Institute for Security Studies for the Advanced Management Intelligence course, which earned me the Fellow of Security Institute. I'm currently undergoing a doctorate degree with the thesis in Security and Strategic Studies at the prestigious Military University, the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. May I kindly state that I've traversed critical public sector institutions that promote human capital development, safeguarding human dignity, and supporting the vulnerable and persons of concerns in Nigeria. I have served as a special advisor on strategic communication with the Minister of State for Education, contributing my expertise to advance educational policies and initiatives. Additionally, I played an instrumental role as a member of the Nasarawa State Economic and Investment Advisory Council, contributing to the overall state socioeconomic development and resilience building. My dedication to humanitarian causes and social progress is evident in my contribution as the DG NAPTIP, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. During my short stay at the agency, I worked assiduously to strengthen its internal framework, and I repositioned it for an enhanced service delivery of its mandate. Amongst others, the initiative I championed led to upgrading Nigeria from the Tier 2 watch list, which attracts sanctions, to Tier 2, second to the highest ranking by the U.S. Trafficking Report. It is my honor to highlight to this distinguished gathering that in my current role as the Honorable Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugee, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, I've continued to lead a progressive agenda and a strategic roadmap tagged the Project 5S. The strategic roadmap is an ambitious intervention designed to tackle critical challenges facing persons of concerns and the vulnerable group of persons in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Some of the key achievements based on the implementation of the strategic roadmaps was the passage of the NCFRMI Act of 2022 into law by the distinguished National Assembly after over 14 years of attempt. The feat attained would not have been achieved without the collective collaboration of the National Assembly, and this effort remains commendable, as the law strengthens the national action for protection and assistance of persons of concerns in our beloved country. The Commission also now has a credible and sustainable framework as a national action plan for resource mobilization to implement a series of activities. Distinguished members of the Senate, if confirmed as a minister, my vision is deeply rooted in strengthening systems of protection for the vulnerable, promoting human capital development, supporting efforts aimed at national cohesion, and sustainable peace building, and fostering an inclusive society that leaves no one behind in our journey towards a prosperous, united Nigeria. Through collaborative partnership, evidence-based policy making, and relentless commitment to transparency and accountability, I am dedicated to leading a transformative effort that will empower our people, and future generations, which in actualizing Mr. President's renewed hope agenda. Mr. President, when confirmed as minister, I look forward to engaging in a constructive collaboration with the National Assembly, drawing from your wealth of experiences and perspective to craft policies that uplift our nation and its citizens. I seek your support, endorsement, and I'm committed to being steadfast in my dedication to duty for the advancement of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, sitting as chair. My name is Mohammed Ogoshionao. I represent Nasarawa South. The nominee before you, or before this chamber, is a seasoned administrator, seasoned civil servant, a self-made woman, very determined to achieve, that has touched the lives of many. Without saying much about her, the three of us from Nasarawa State are unanimous in endorsing her for confirmation. I would love to urge this Senate to please spare her the necessary questions and allow her to take a bow to go. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Babangida.
Thank you, Mr. President and Chair of this distinguished colleagues. I'm Babangida Hussaini, representing the good people of Jigawa Northwest. Colleagues, I have 4 local governments that border Niger Republic. And I want to know from the nominee if she has had the opportunity of traveling Agadez in Niger Republic. If she has, what will she do if perhaps Mr. President finds it expedient to appoint her as a Minister for Women Affairs? And I believe, having served as the DG of NAPTIP, she knows the matter I'm raising, the issue of our young girls living and practically dying in Agadez in their attempt to cross the Sahara Desert into Europe. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues.
Distinguished Senator Darlington.
Thank you, Mr. President of the Senate and dear colleagues. My name is Darlington Nwokocha. I represent entire Nigeria, but I speak for Abia Central in particular. My dear sister, please, I want to pick just an item from your resume. The first paragraph, you say current position of service, and you say Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, 2021 till date. I'm concerned about the internally displaced persons because for 8 years plus, I've been in the National Assembly, the Green Chamber, and I know often and not, we always hold 1 minute silence. And this has to do with people, either they have been slaughtered, 1, 2 persons, or several persons. And at the end of the day, they will take their children to these IDP centers. Also, I know quite well that these people in IDP centers, I have attended, I've been a member of ad hoc committees where issues that borders around diverting the materials that's supposed to get to them for their own use, people that are internally displaced, by internally well-placed people. And at the end of the day, these reports keep coming. I want to find out how many IDP centers do we have? How many of them have good quality education for those children that are displaced? Because we know quite well that it's not out of their making. The psychomotor and the psychological displacement at the end of the day puts them in a position that at the end of the day they may turn to criminals for no just reason that they are theirs. I want to find out how many of those investigations concerning diversion of those food materials by internally well-placed people have you handled? And in what measure and means will you make sure that you provide the necessary education and make sure that all the necessary tools that will protect the provision of those materials that they need will get to them within the real time? Thank you.
The nominee, you may proceed a few answers. Oh, let me just add one. Senator Mongunu, add your question so that she can take it all together.
Distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I am asking this question against the background of the fact that I am coming from Borno North, which is the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency and massive displacement of people occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency. We thank God as a result of the political will, determination, as well as sacrifice and enthusiasm displayed by the Nigerian military. Boko Haram has been decimated and our people are now returning back to their communities to pick the pieces of their lives. As somebody that has served previously in 2 agencies that are humanitarian related, parabencho, if you are confirmed and Mr. President deemed it fit to force you to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, what steps are you going to take with a view to assisting our people that have been earlier displaced but are now returning back to their respective communities? What steps are you going to take with a view to giving them succor and ameliorating their life so that they can pick the pieces of their lives? Thank you.
Yes, the nominee, you may answer those questions whilst we await others.
The President of the Senate, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the migration problems in Nigeria are multidimensional, evolving, and dynamic. And that also describes the kind of migration issues we have with the Republic of Niger. We have Nigerian refugees. The majority of the Nigerian refugees are in the Republic of Niger. We also have issues of irregular migration, human trafficking, smuggling of migrants. Also in Niger, we have a clearing center that hosts predominantly Nigerians that have been evacuated from Europe and are in that center awaiting clearance to come back to Nigeria. We do not have a budget line for repatriation in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's something that we must consider because presently we rely on the IOM to bring back our citizens home. In demonstrating commitment, we have to work with border communities. We have to work with host communities, and we have to work with these countries, these border countries, to ensure that we have a comprehensive plan and a mutual legal agreement around our migration issues. In my response to the second questions, in the number of IDPs or IDP centers in the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a bit clandestine because of the way it happens. Our migration problems is as a result of man-made disasters, which are the conflicts, the banditry, terrorism, and also the natural disasters, which we cannot control, climate change, which is predominantly our problem. After the flood of the end of last year, we doubled the number of IDPs from about 3-point-something million to over 5 million IDPs. That is an issue of concern. As a country, we're very good in responding to emergencies, but we're not very good in addressing consequences or root causes. And it's something that we must do collectively as a people. Predominantly of our IDPs are in host communities. We do have camps, but we try to discourage camps. But the National Commission for Refugee Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons is a durable solution agency. NEMA handles materials, but the Refugee Commission, we handle the reintegration, rehabilitation, and resettlement of displacements in Nigeria. And we ensure that we make use of scarce resources, which are hardly available. In my response to the third question, I'm excited to tell you that Borno State government has a 25 years plan for the rehabilitation of persons of concerns. And if I have the opportunity, I will align to that plan and will support other states to come up with their own plan. There's no state in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that doesn't have displacement issues or migration issues or their own persons of concerns due to various reasons. Given the opportunity, we'll be able to address the major challenges around that sector, namely the issue of data. We're addressing issues for human beings. We must have data, and also the issue of cohesion and coordination, and also the issue of multi-stakeholder engagement. I thank you so much.
So, our dear nominee, you've answered a lot of questions, but I would like to ask you just the last one. You were in charge of NAPTIP, National, for
NAPTIP is the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. So it's the only agency in Nigeria, the law enforcement agency that safeguards human rights in Nigeria. They're also the custodians of the VAP Act. So we have 2 acts domiciled with the NAPTIP.
How successful will you say you were in curbing the incidence of human trafficking when you had the opportunity? Because you have answered the one on being a federal commissioner in respect of refugees, migrants, and internally displaced persons. But as chairperson of NAPTIP, what can you just point out were your major achievements, or can you give us a percentage of the success rate of NAPTIP under you?
Mr. President, when I arrived in NAPTIP, we lost most of our partnerships due to the way we handled them in the past. No country can fight human trafficking in isolation because it's a cross-border offense. I was in NAPTIP for only 6 months, but before I left, I had regained almost 99% of our partnerships. I had been able to gain partnerships confidence. They gave us cases. We have mutual legal agreements with the Europe and with other countries that have human trafficking challenges. Nigeria is a country of destination, transit, and also country of origin. And that's why our migration situation is very complex. But I think the major achievement from my stay in NAPTIP is the repositioning of the agency, making sure that the staff were committed to serving. When I got there, there was very low morals, and then the staff didn't feel appreciated, especially because their welfare packages were low. But I was able to kind of excite them. I was able to build that team spirit, and I was able to even spread into states, because you can't fight human trafficking without being present. So we're able to spread into states, work with state government, form state task forces, because this would entail all the players around addressing that challenge for communities being in that task force. We're able to inaugurate about 18 of them. We're able to work with states to sign the Child Rights Acts, the VAP Acts. We're able to also get the Nigerian rating, the US trafficking rating from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2, which saves us from getting sanctions or suspensions. Thank you, Mr. President.
So during that period, do you recall any madam in Italy or any madam in Paris or any madam in Poland being prosecuted as a result of not just trafficking? They carry teenagers and underage children to Congo, Brazzaville, and other places under the guise of going to give them education, but they put them under pains of prostitution and debase womanhood. Do you remember your organization prosecuting some of those madams? You know what I mean? The queen pins in the trade.
At the end of my stay at NAPTIP, we were able to prosecute over 300 cases. The most significant one, or the most celebrated one, was was that of one madam in the UK, because it was in collaboration with the British government. She was prosecuted from the UK. The crime she committed was in Germany, and her assets are still undergoing confiscations. And she was being caught in Edo State, partnering with Interpol and other relevant agencies.
I did not want to mention Edo State because of Oshimole, but now I think you can take a bow. Take a bow. Leader of the Senate.
Well, Mr. President, very distinguished senators, having gone very far dealing with some of the issues on our order paper, and in order to allow time for our distinguished colleagues to study the rest of the curriculum vitae being brought in, I would move that we suspend other items on the order paper, and of course that we step them down till the next legislative day. And well, I guess may I move first that the Senate revert back to plenary for the chairman to report progress.
The minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I will rise to second the motion moved by the leader of the Senate, that the Senate hereby resolve back to plenary to report.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support that the Senate reverts to plenary to report progress, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the request of Mr. President's Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of nominees, of some nominees, for appointment as ministers of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. About 14 nominees answered questions from distinguished senators on a number of topical issues, and thereafter the Senate deferred the issue of further approvals to the next legislative date. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Having exhausted all items on the order paper, the Senate is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, the first day of August 2023 at 11 a.m. prompt.